Good afternoon and welcome everyone out there that may be watching our council meeting today. Hindmarsh Shire Council acknowledges that this meeting is being held on the lands of the Watchabolik, Jardwa, Jali, Werrigai and Jackalbulk nations, and we acknowledge them as traditional owners of the country. We recognise the important ongoing role that Indigenous people have in our community and pay our respects to the elders past and present. This meeting is being broadcast on the internet and the recording of the meeting will be published on Council's YouTube channel and linked to Council's website. As a visitor in the public gallery, you may be filmed. By remaining in the public gallery, you consent to being filmed and for the recording of you to be made publicly available to Council. A copy of the Council live streaming and recording of Council meetings policy is available at the back of this room and on Council's website. Please speak to one of our staff members if you have any questions. I'll now hand over to Councillor Barry to read our statement of values. Thank you.
Our commitment is to come prepared to every meeting, fostering a respectful and inclusive environment where accountability and approachability are at the core of our actions. We value and encourage innovation, collaboration and open communication, always keeping in mind the well-being of our needs of our community. Together, we stand united as one, working towards shared goals with mutual respect and consideration.
Thank you. Okay, item 3, declarations of interest. Is there anyone around the table have a declaration of a general or material conflict of interest? No? Okay. Item 4, confirmation of minutes and business arising and a recommendation.
I'll recommend that the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on Wednesday, the 2nd of April, 2025 at our Nil Council Chamber, 92 Nelson Street, Nil, as circulated to councillors, be taken as read and confirmed.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Clark. All in favour? Against? The motion is carried. Thank you. Item 5, public question and submission time.
There are no public questions or submissions today.
All right, thank you. Item 6, activity reports. I took part in a meeting in Ballarat at the Ballarat City Hall in their council chambers, and very different than ours, very old school, a very federation, I suppose. Anyway, we had a visit from Catherine King, who was and still is the minister, was re-elected last Saturday, and I thought Catherine spoke very well. She was very informative, and I did mention to her that I'd like to see the Grain Corp site here at Nil upgraded so that they can outload straight onto the rail, and she said it wasn't her role, I suppose, but I did ask for her support and she offered her support, so I thought that was really good to be able to do, and I thought she was a very polished, she's been a politician since 2002, and I thought she was a very polished politician, so it's probably good that she's been re-elected. Did a citizenship ceremony for 2 lovely people in Nil here recently. Always a great thing to do, and I hope they got as much out of it as I did. I thought it was a really great day. Attended Wimpy Reichel's 90th birthday, and I've written here that he's such a great bloke and he has done so much for the Nil community, not only with the Little Desert Lodge but the aviation and heritage centre out the road there. He's been involved in that, and he's a very clever man, and shown me engines out of some of the planes and how they all worked, and it just went over my head. And I have got a bit of a mechanical mind, but it was way over my head. So anyway, Wimpy's turned 90. Don't know what. And with the CEO and I had a meeting with Jerome Weimar down at Horsham, and that was also a really good meeting. And I actually raised the Grain Corp site here at Nil again with him, and a few other issues as well, as of course. And apparently he's as high as we can get in state government. So it was really great to have someone of his caliber to come out to the bush. You don't see too many politicians from Spring Street coming out to the bush, so it's really good to be able to catch up with him. And he was, seemed very genuinely interested in everything we had to say. And then there was the Anzac Day ceremonies, and I attended the dawn service in Rainbow. And Lyra Roberts, our Citizen of the Year, has done research on all the men that were killed during the Second World War and read out their histories and all the rest of it, and that was really good. And then I came here to Nil, and that was also a great day, and the guest speaker was very informative, and I was very I guess the thing that got me is when he served in Afghanistan and Iraq, and when they captured Saddam Hussein, they had to take shelter because everyone celebrated by shooting bullets in the air, and what comes up has to come down. So he had to go undercover to get away for the bullets coming down. So anyway, it was a great day. Also, that's all I have. I'll hand over to Councillor Boyd.
Oh, look, it was quite an interesting, diverse month. I mean, starting with the town tours of Chapara and Rainbow to see the facilities in the region. That was really a good exercise. The Northern Grampian Shire Council and business groups came to Dimboola to see what's happening there and get inspiration, which was really nice. That was a good experience. Once again, the diversity of, from the firefighters to, the Wimmera Steampunk Festival, the Alambi meeting, and then of course, seeing the Korean community do their ceremony for thanking elders, which is quite refreshing because we don't really do that in Western society in terms of respecting elders, because that's a very Asian thing to do, to respect elders. So that was nice to see that. And of course, finishing off with Anzac Day, and that was quite symbolic and quite honoured to be a part of that. So thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Councillor Aiken.
So we did the council-wide tour around projects and business around the Hindmarsh Shire. The next one was the off-road race, the ARB 480 in Rainbow over the 3 days. We had a terrific turnout for the street party on the Friday night, which the town committee put that on. Then we had the 2 days of the actual race. So we had the new residents barbecue. As councillors may said, we had a great turn up and a terrific evening. It was a lovely evening up there at Yarunga Homestead. Then we had the an RSL meeting to get ready for Anzac Day. Again, as councillors may said, Alira did a terrific job of getting everything organised. Town committee meeting at the Pioneer Museum Parrot. We had a soft opening for the P12 school in Rainbow for the first part of the build. We've still got a second part of the build which is coming up at the moment, where they're pulling down the old hall at Rainbow as we speak. We had a terrific turn up out for the dawn service at Rainbow. We had the morning service, which I thank them that I led the march that morning, and then I did a hospital visit and talk for Anzac Day at Rainbow. Thank you.
Well done. Councillor Barker.
Thank you, Mayor. It's May. This past month, we have been busy, haven't we? So apart from the things that have already been mentioned, I've been working on being available at the Hindmarsh council offices to meet with people, and that's been working quite well. So been doing that. We also, as councillors, went and met with the Blaze Aid team, which was great to see them up at our grounds here at Nil, and the wonderful, they reflected on the community spirit and all the things that we've been supporting them with up there. And then we also did that donation directly from council as well. So that was nice to meet all of them, and they've got a dinner coming up as well. So the community's been really great and we really appreciate Blaze Aid. We've been to the Nil Town Committee, been to Nil Listening Post. It's always great to hear the things that are happening for our community and what supports they're looking for. We had the South Australian Gather Round AFL recently in April and the week before Easter, and we myself and some of the community members went around as young children. We blew up balloons and we put all the AFL colours up, and we had a lot of cars coming through Nell and a lot of people, a lot of Melbourneites commenting on the spirit of our town. So that was really nice. I've also been getting mentoring from Algua with Karen Foster, who's the Mayor of Hindmarsh Shire, and she's very inspiring person. It's good to hear what's happening in other towns and how they run how they work with council and with their communities. So that's been a really useful thing to do. Went to the Wimmera Steampunk. Well, we shouldn't minimise that because that was a big effort from our Dimboola community. So many volunteers, so many people coming through the gates, a really grand effort. And I was only there for 2 hours helping people get through the gates, and there was a lot of fun and a lot of activity. So it was a really great event. Thank you to Dimboola and Councillor Oy, who was very much involved with that. Also went to the Lowen Art Prize at the Nil Art Gallery. Just so much effort put in, just so many creative people in our region, and people put paintings in from outside of our region as well. And it was judged by a South Australian judge, so it wasn't, just someone who liked someone. It was really great to see a well-considered prize. And those paintings, I think they're finished being there now, but there's always great things at our art gallery here in Nil. We also had the Easter egg hunt. It's just so much fun to go to things where our community comes together and supports things like this, where young children may not have that opportunity to get Easter eggs and to have that fun and to hunt the eggs out. And they played games, and there was quite a really big turnout of the children and the parents getting in there and having a good time as well. That was at our JPEX Park, which is a really beautiful spot that our council keeps pristine for us. Also was quite impressed that the Greens candidate came up to see us, as well as we'd already previously seen Dr. Ann Webster. So it was good to see a diverse, federal potential ministers coming to see what's happening in our town. So it was nice to see, and interesting person. Of course, our Dr. Ann Webster did achieve it on the day, but it was just good to see some diversity and, good for our democracy in our area. So, yeah, it's been really busy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Barker. Councillor Barry.
I've only done a couple of things, but what I can say is my wife took me away on a lovely 4-week holiday. Thank you.
You don't want to report on that at all?
No.
Okay, Councillor Clark. Thank you.
Well, I can actually be in a similar boat to Councillor Barry, because my wife took me away for 2 weeks just in the lead up to Christmas.
You want to report on that?
Sorry, Easter, sorry. A report on that. I went to we went to sort of northern South Australia, and there's a fair few questions in my mind arisen.
Councillor Clark.
Sorry? Relating to how sporting clubs and that operate in extremely small towns is a question that's got my mind going. How do they do it over there? Because I think I might be able to pick up a bit of knowledge. I might be able to get a CEO approved visits over there to study that, but we'll work on that. Anyway, in amongst that, obviously did the Shire tour, Lions meeting, had a Yarunga Homestead meeting, a council meeting, went to the Rainbow P12 College soft opening. Yeah, I'm absolutely blown away by the modernisation of education for our students these days. Didn't matter how many students I asked, none of them could point out where the 4-foot leather strap was. Another Lions dinner meeting, Anzac Day. I'm very passionate about Anzac Day and what our diggers did for us back in war. I did the dawn service in Rainbow, fantastic. I did the day service in Rainbow, but unfortunately, I had to cut out halfway through that so that I could attend the Anzac Day service in Japarrit. All brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And I do thank my wife for getting out of bed before dawn and accompanying me on those 3 occasions. The ARB 480 and the street party the night before, I attended that partially with one hat on and partially with my council hat on. I don't know, people seem to give me stick about both, so I can claim that I think as a bit of a council event as well. So certainly had a bit of.
Yeah, the P12 colleges, I went through there, not on the day, but, I wanted to go back to school. Like, it was nothing like that when I was at school. They were very spoiled.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Okay, item 7, correspondence. And we have a recommendation. Thank you, councillor White.
I would like to move that council notes the attached correspondence.
Thank you. And a seconder? Councillor Barker, all in favour? Against, motion is carried. Thank you. Item 8, assembly of councillors. And again, a recommendation. Councillor Barrett.
I move that the council notes the assembly of council records as presented.
Thank you. And a seconder, councillor Aitken, all in favour? Against, motion is carried. Thank you. Item 9, planning permits, and there aren't any. Item 10, reports requiring a decision. Council plan, action plan, Q3 update. Thank you, Mrs. Rebel. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. This report presents council with an update of the progress of items identified in the council plan, action plan for delivery in the 24-25 financial year. Annually, council adopts an action plan that aids the achievement of the objectives within the council plan 2021 to 2025. The actions in the action plan correspond to the themes identified in the council plan. Our community built a natural environment, competitive and innovative economy, good governance and financial stability. Q3 covers January to March 2025 with actions against each item detailed progress indicator. Key achievements in the Q3 include the completion of the classic movie scheduling across the Shire, the successful commencement of use of the new kinders on schools sites in Dimboola and Nil, and progress on the new facilities at Davis Park, Nil. The table below provides a detailed update of the council plan action 2024-25. I'll open up discussion.
Thank you. Mayor Ismay, notice in the plan, we have a plan for increasing building and planning activity to protect Hindmarsh Shire Council. It talks about compliance because we have some new staff. I was wondering if council or Ron could speak to that at all.
Yep. So we have been dealing with all of the plan compliance issues coming from the community, as well as surveillance of our planning team. In the last year, the team investigated 50 planning compliance issues. 15 of them were investigated due to complaints from the community. We also, went and did the checks of 20 over 20 planning permit conditions before the issuing the statement. So the planning team is busy doing all of those stuff, like the complaints from the community or their proactive inspections or any of the monitoring of any of the permit conditions, basically. So.
Thank you, Ron. Are you saying, and also along with that, whereas we have new staff, I think, is there 2 new staff in that regard?
There's one qualified planner in our team, and we have a very good planning manager who's got a fantastic knowledge in that area.
So that will mean that we have these 2 new, we have that expansion that we'll be able to be more aware of what is happening in our area, the planning wise, and making sure there's permits and things for appropriate structures in our town.
Yeah, no, the service was already available.
Yes,
like in the past, we were dependent on the consultants who were away from Hindmarsh, but now we've got qualified staff within our workforce who can provide that service in a timely manner.
Thank you. I have another question in regard to the Nil Streetscape plan, which has been in process, I think, since 2016. I think with originally when the plan was put together, and I was wondering if council could reflect on what is happening with the Centenary Park of that Nil Streetscape plan.
Answer that question through you, Mr. Mayor.
Yep.
And we've recently advertised for suitable contractors to undertake stage 2 of the Nil Streetscape plan. As you mentioned, is the linking path between Goldsworthy and JPEX Park through Centenary Park. The tender evaluation panel have met and are currently working through the tenders that have been received. But the awarding of the tender shouldn't be far away now, which will see the construction of a concrete path through Centenary Park, along with safety fencing in Centenary Park. Following community feedback at a number of listening sessions and at CEO drop-in sessions, it's been raised by the Nil community, the safety issue at JPEX Park. A lot of families are utilising that park, and at the moment we have safety fencing that goes so far along the park, and then it's just bollards. So part of stage 2 of the Nil Streetscape plan will be an extension of the safety fencing that will take it right down to the creek near the caravan park there. So those works should happen before the end of this financial year. And then we'll be working with community groups to look at what aspects we implement of the master plan next.
Thank you. Thank you, Monica. I also, in regard to that, what you've talked about, that extension of the fencing there on JPEX Park, we have already worked pretty hard, and is still to be completed, the Nil Dog Park. With the extension of that fence there, a lot of travellers do already walk their dogs down at JPEX Park, which is a little bit concerning about children and dogs together. Can I assume that you'll be putting up signage in regard to the ensuring dogs are not off leash in that area?
Yeah, absolutely. That's part of the discussions that have been held internally, is making sure we've got appropriate signage that makes it clear that if there are dogs utilising JPEX Park, they need to be on leash. And talking about our dog park, our instant turf shouldn't be far away. The watering system has been installed.
Awesome.
So that project should be completed by the end of financial year as well.
Thank you. Do we have another question? Councillor Mayor Ismay? In this plan, as well as the Grampians Wimmera Mallee Tourism Quarterly Business Networking Group, was cancelled. And I just would really, part of my my thinking for the progression of Nil and our businesses in all of our towns is the importance of having a plan. I'm just in regard to supporting our businesses moving forward. We have 2 economic development employees here now at Hindmarsh Shire, which is fantastic. I'm just wondering about what kind of plan, moving forward, council may have in regard to engaging with community and the businesses in our region.
I'm happy to answer that, Mr. Mayor. The business networking sessions have been really successful in the past, and very unfortunately, the one in Neil was cancelled because there was really low registrations, not without effort of trying to get people along. So the economic development and tourism team are certainly looking at what that type of engagement can look like in the future. We know that businesses in our towns have different purposes, whether they're serving tourism traffic or local communities, and their needs will be different. So the team are working on what kind of events and support can suit the needs of businesses. Perhaps what we might look at in the future is some sort of annualised plan of what education, support, training can be provided to businesses so that they can see the long-term outlook of what council can offer or facilitate in terms of business support.
That sounds really great. Thank you, Petra.
Councillor Barry.
Just one question, just with the recent election, Anne Webster, she put on her website that she was going to, look at funding the Mecca and the second stage of Davis Park and all that. With that all going through now, it's like all the fundings, we just got to look elsewhere.
So the funding commitments from Anne Webster were subject to a coalition government. Unfortunately, the coalition didn't make government. So those election commitments are off the table now. And yes, we will have to look at other avenues for funding projects.
I would believe that Ms. Webster would still fight for those projects, even though they're not in government. I mean, she's, managed to get money for other projects, and us as a region should be entitled to some sort of funding. So I don't see why it should be wiped off completely. It's just a matter of getting a different lot of people to get the checkbook out.
Correct. Let's hope.
I would just reflect that, our Mallee seat is quite a large seat, and Hindmarsh Shire overall was only 1.85% of Anne Webster's votes. So it would be great if she was able to allocate time to us, but I think we also need to look at ourselves as a community and a shire and what we can do to get grants or funding for that. So it's up to, I think we need to be thinking about how we can be proactive across all federal, state, and in our community as well.
Yeah. Councillor Clark.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of questions. Obviously, one of our primary aims as the Shire was the Japarra Weir. And I see here it reflects we've been trying to get funding for the new weir. Has there been any, probably in the last 2 months, any update on any other applications for funding, or sort of received any notification of funding? No, we're just still looking for places we can apply for funding and applying.
Yep. So we, with the weir, we've received a bit of funding from CMA, Wimmera CMA, to do the feasibility study.
Yeah.
And a bit of a concept design that will make the project shovel ready, give us the estimate and all of those things. And that will help us with any of the funding application in the future.
Oh, great win. Yeah.
Now, my other question is relates to the workshop at Japarra. See here it says that it's 95% complete. Now, obviously, this just for our public there, this workshop was certainly invested in by the Shire because it's mainly more a long-term financial gain facility. How far are we off getting 100% there?
I can answer that if that's right, because it's IT equipment essentially. So the building, the construction of the building is complete, it's functional.
Yeah.
There's some upgrades with the tech so that the staff there can get online, do everything that they need to do in terms of ordering, etc. Have quality access to internet.
Yeah.
That's the part we're waiting on.
Yeah.
And also a bit of a move from the old workshop to the new workshop.
Yeah.
That will then complete the entire.
Yeah. I think just for the public point of view, Shire has looked at using this as our major base for servicing our equipment rather than outsourcing to contractors, which is going to save the Shire a fair amount of money over going forward, basically. So thank you very much, Mayor, for that.
Any other questions? No? If not, I have a recommendation.
Yeah, I'd like to move that the council receives the council plan, action plan for 2024-2025, third quarter update.
Thank you. A seconder, councillor Clark. You'd like to speak to your motion?
No.
No, councillor Clark.
I think just for the public's point of view, I mean, there's multiple pages here of targets and that are being addressed. Read through them all. Obviously, some are 100%, some are ongoing, but I can certainly see every one of them's been actioned by our Shire or ongoing action by our Shire, such as what I just spoke about with the Japarra Weir. So that's all I wish to.
All right, thank you. No one wants to speak against the motion. If not, put the motion all in favour. Against the motion is carried. Thank you. Item 10.2, draft Hindmarsh Shire Council Budget 2025-26. This report presents a draft 2025-2026 annual budget, incorporating the draft long-term financial plan and draft revenue and rating plan in accordance with the Local Government Act 2020. The report includes the recommendation that Council approves the draft 2025-2026 annual budget, incorporating the draft revenue and rating plan and draft long-term financial plan for the purposes of public consultation for the period of 8th of May 2025 to the 4th of June 2025. The draft budget has been developed to balance the retention of existing community service levels, maintenance and renewal of assets, and the new initiatives to improve the amenity and make Hindmarsh a better place to live. One of the key focuses of this draft budget, shaped significantly by community consultation, is addressing the priorities identified by our residents. The community has told us that roads and pedestrian infrastructure are the highest priority, so we are investing $4.693 million in road construction, reshoots, reseals and final seals, curb and channel and footpaths, both maintenance and capital works. The total amount to be raised by general rates and charges in 2025-2026 is $10.336 million, which is an increase of $0.294 million or $294,000 from the 2024-25. The budget revenue and rating plan includes differentials for farms and commercial and industrial properties, 10% discount, recreational properties, 50% discount, and non-farm vacant land 100% penalty. The draft 2025-26 annual budget includes capital works expenditure of $7.033 million. Key initiatives for the 2025-2026 budget include roads, undertake unsealed road construction on Boyo Tarangini Road, Boyo Yannick South Road, Yannick, Peaks 3 Chain Road, Warrack, and Proper Dollar Extension Road, Proper Dollar. Undertake sealed road construction, including major stabilised patching on Nil Rainbow Lush Road, Nil Rainbow 3 Chain Road, Warrack, Nine Lorquin and Glenlee Lorquin Road, Broughton Conniver Road, Nil Rainbow Kruger Road and Nil Rainbow Solly Road. A number of these roadworks will only be undertaken subject to a successful funding application. Footpaths, Whitehead Avenue, Nil, including pedestrian crossing Park Street, nil, and McPherson Street, nil. Curb and Channel, Lloyd Street, Dimboola. Tourism and economic development are another significant community priority, and we're excited to be delivering several projects that improve tourism and recreation infrastructure for local roads and visitors. The draft 2025-26 budget includes installation of studio cabins at Nil Caravan Park, improvements to Dimboola swimming pool, continue this construction of Davis Park, including the grandstand. Under Council's community engagement policy, the draft budget, updated draft revenue and rating plan, and draft long-term financial plan will be made available for public inspection and the receiving of submissions for the period to Thursday, the 8th of May 2025 to Wednesday, the 4th of June 2025. Council will be advised of any submissions received at the 18th of June 2025 council meeting. Thank you, and I'll open it up for discussion. Councillor Barker.
Thank you, Mayor Ismay. Okay, I mean, it's a well put together budget. I'm so glad to see that we're we have such a great council staff keeping such a strong eye on our finances, and it'll be interesting to hear the community feedback. I'm excited as a West Ward councillor about Whitehead Avenue being getting some attention there because of the dangers that are involved with the amount of trucks that go down there. We've got kindergartens, we've got the dog park, we've got swimming pool, we've got the secondary school, we've got childcare. It can be a very dangerous place to be at times. So very happy to see that on there with the footpath, etc. Pretty excited about the installation of studio cabins at our Nil Caravan Park and generally in our area to see potential changes to and the of all the caravan parks in our shire and the income that is bringing in for us as we're becoming that tourist destination. I also and having that seed funding put aside for those things to happen. It's a considerable amount that we have put aside in our budget, 375,000. So looking forward to that. And of course, Davis Park grandstand moving forward, even though we didn't get the funding, coalition did not achieve government, but we'll find a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. We'll find grants and we'll do something there. We should be really proud as a relatively small shire council to still be able to say that our average rates are less than similar councils. Where other councils have increased above the rate caps as well. So we're doing our best to make sure that the cost of living that we're impacting on our community is minimised. I was pleased also to see in the budget that the senior citizens area, the senior citizens building was available, for $10 an hour, which makes it really usable for people wanting to run community groups, to run, meditation, yoga, whatever it is, and making it more useful and available for our community as well. We do have quite a lot of buildings at Nil, but it's good to know that space is available. I do have a couple of questions. So the first question about that is what kind of procedure, like when people want to or utilize one of our, we've also got the Nil Memorial Hall, Community Hall. How do people book that in? How do they find out when it's available and who do they? I know it might seem like you just ring in reception, but what about the keys and all those sort of things? It'd be good if there's somewhere on the website where all that information is kind of what's the procedure?
Yep, so you've pretty much hit the nail on the head. So if they contact customer service, we have a calendar for each facility that we manage so that we can keep track of how it's being used. Depending on when it's being used, we'll arrange with the person when they can collect the keys, when they need to return them, if they want a walkthrough of the facility, particularly for the community centre, because it's quite large. So just the safety those sorts of procedures. And we do have a section on our website for facilities for hire, but we can absolutely have a look at that and make sure it's user friendly. They can submit an online form to express their interest in hiring it. That's something we've talked about as well.
Lovely. Thank you, Petra. And also I'm really happy to see the reducing of the street furniture fees, because making our towns look busy, putting out their A-frames, putting out their flags. We want to make sure that they're able to do that. It's gone down to $50 per year instead of, what was it previously?
So it's on a 3-year cycle. So in our 24-25 budget, it was $228 for the 3 years. In 25-26, we've listened to our business community and reduced that to $150 for the 3-year cycle.
That's well done, because I know that all other councils charge considerably for putting street furniture out, but we would really like our businesses to, and our main streets to look busy and to have things out there, and for us to know that that's done safely. So we're not worrying about things blowing out onto trucks and cars or anything happening. So really good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Other questions?
So no question, but just to acknowledge that, with the cost of things going up and the fact that you've managed to keep the budget without getting a loan is well done, because we know that the challenges for most councils moving forward is going to get harder, and the fact that Hindmarsh has managed to keep it all in the black is well done. So thank you.
I'd take a motion on it if you would like to move one, Councillor Lloyd.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. All right. So I'd like to move the motion that council approves the draft 2025-2026 budget, incorporating the draft revenue and rating plan and draft long-term financial plan for the purposes of public consultation in accordance with the Local Government Act 2020. Point 2, give public notice of the preparation of the draft 2025-2026 budget, incorporating the draft revenue and rating plan and draft long-term financial plan, inviting written submissions from the public for the period from Thursday, 8th of May 2025 to Wednesday, 4th of June 2025. And point 3, considers public submissions and the formal adoption of the draft budget, incorporating the draft revenue and rating plan and draft long-term financial plan at the council meeting on Wednesday, the 18th of June 2025. And the 4th point, authorizes the Chief Executive Officer to undertake minor editorial changes to the draft 2025-2026 budget, incorporating the draft revenue and rating plan and draft long-term financial plan if required.
Thank you. And the second, Councillor Clark. Thank you. Would you like to speak to the motion, Councillor Lloyd?
Oh, look, it's just coming to council and just learning about behind the scenes stuff. I really do appreciate the work that's involved, because an average citizen just takes it all for granted and it's magic. But I really do appreciate the stress involved to make all of this work. So I really do have a newfound appreciation for the work that's required. So I acknowledge the work involved.
Nearly as big as running a steam pump festival.
Sorry?
I said nearly as big as running a steam pump.
So that's a minor fraction, but yeah, I think we as a society take
do it every day of the week, not once a year.
Yeah, so it's huge endeavour. So thank you.
Councillor Clark.
Yeah, look, I certainly back what council always said about the staff and maintaining budget. My question probably is to our CEO. I'm looking at some numbers on here that our general rates and charges added up to $10.33 million for the financial year. And because of the community engagement at its highest priority, we're spending $4.63 million on road construction and pedestrian related. Is that correct?
Yes. And it's worth noting as well that the $10 million includes the waste charge. And so curbside collection is it's not a profit, it's a cost recovery. So that money is for the specific purpose of curbside collection out of the $10 million as well.
Right. So we're spending nearly half our budget or raised rates on roads because that's what the public's asked us. Yeah, no worry. And my second thing, I just wish to touch on. No, lost it. Thank you very much. Me.
Right, no one wants to speak against the motion, put the motion on in favour. Against, motion's carried, thank you. Item 10.3, quarterly financial report. The financial report for the third quarter of the 2024-2025 financial year has been prepared, including explanation for variances where applicable. The content of financial reporting to council summarises council's financial health and shows how financial performance is tracking against the budget, highlighting any risk-based and providing information on any other relevant issues from that quarter. As at the 31st of March 2025, council surplus is 4.76 million against a budget of 4.56 million. This variance is due to receipt of financial assistance grant in full in July 2024, whereas the budget reflects quarterly payments. As at the 31st of March 2025, council had 11.8 million cash. The high cash balance is due to several capital projects being carried forward from the 2023-2024 year for completion in 2024-2025 and the early payment of the financial assistance grant. Council's expenditure on capital works was 5.58 million against a budget of 6.17 million. The variance is largely due to phasing of budgeted road projects as well as work undertaken on carried forward projects. The complete report and further discussion around key variations are included in the report. In the report attachment. Thank you. I'll up for discussion. Councillor Clark.
Yeah, look, more for our public, I'll just highlight here, we talk about some pretty big numbers here of, as of 31st of March, council had $11.8 million cash. Just for the purposes of the public is that, most of that comes from, just after the financial new year. You may correct me, CEO, if I'm wrong here and misunderstand. But most of that money came from federal government giving us that money just after the end of the financial year last year to make us look pretty flash. But in fact, that money's already been, shall I say, put towards projects or committed to projects within the Shire already. And in fact, you know, that money is sort of looks a grand number, but it's not a grand number because it's already committed. Is that how I'm reading it?
Yes, so the $11.8 million includes the early payment of the financial assistance grant, which we're gradually spending throughout this financial year. It also includes some pretty large carry forward projects that are underway. The Lou Shilling Silo is one of the large, the Davis Park Grandstand, and then there's a number of other grant projects that have we've received funding for, and they aren't quite completed yet. So if we refer back to the budget that we just looked at, as part of our budget development, we forecast where our end of year position is going to be. Our forecast is that we will spend what we had allocated in our 24-25 budget. So the majority of that cash will be spent by the 30th of June.
Yeah. Thank you. Any further comment or questions? If not, there is a recommendation. Councillor Barger.
I recommend that council notes the financial report for the period ending 31st of March 2025.
Thank you. And a seconder. Councillor Hoy. No one to speak to the motion, or do you?
I would reflect what Councillor Tony Clark mentioned there, and also what Councillor Chan Oy mentioned previously in regard to the budget, but it's also reflected the good financial ethics that we had, that the Hindmarsh Shire Council is demonstrating at this time.
Thank you. Councillor, you don't want to, or do you? All right, no one wants to speak against the motion? If not, put the motion all in favour? Against, the motion carried, thank you. 10.4, Council Advisory County Committee Terms of Reference, Hindmarsh Pride Advisory Committee and Advisory Committee Policy Review. In accordance with the Advisory Committee policy, the following documents have been reviewed and following a period of public consultation from the 3rd to 18th of April 2025 are now presented to Council for adoption. The terms of reference for Hindmarsh Shire Council's Town Advisory Committees of Parrot, Nill and Rainbow, the Hindmarsh Pride Committee Terms of Reference and the Advisory Committee Policy. No further changes to the documents have been made following the consultation period. Initial proposed minor changes to the documents included aligning the term of appointment across all documents and noting that unspent funds allocated to advisory committees may not be carried forward to the next financial year. And I'll open it up for discussion.
Thank you, Mayor Ismay. I do have a motion that I would like to add into this, and I may like to read it out. Is this appropriate time?
So you're going to move a motion other than what's on?
To add to the terms of reference. To add to the advisory committee's terms of reference.
Okay. So, are there any other questions before we go to that? No? Okay, I'll take your motion.
My motion is that Council, 1, insert the following clause in the Hindmarsh Shire Council Advisory Committee Policy. 8.2.1, volunteer organisation representation. Council acknowledges that collaboration with and support of other volunteer organisations within local communities is key to the success of community engagement, projects and events. As such, representatives from volunteer organisations will be invited to attend Hindmarsh Shire Council Township Advisory Committee meetings to participate in discussions and collaborate on projects and events. And with that change, adopt the Hindmarsh Shire Council Advisory Committee policy as it stands. And
The Hindmarsh Pride Committee Terms of Reference,
and
the Town Advisory Committee Terms of Reference.
I haven't got that on here. Can you say that loudly for me? And what Monica just said, and the Hindmarsh Pride Committee Terms of Reference and the Advisory Committee Policy Terms of Reference. And secondly, insert the following clause in the Hindmarsh Shire Council Advisory Committee Terms of Reference. 6.9, volunteer organisation representation. Council acknowledges that collaboration with and support of other volunteer organisations within local communities is key to the success of community engagement, projects and events. As such, representatives from volunteer organisations will be invited to attend Hindmarsh Shire Council Township Advisory Committee meetings to participate in discussions and collaborate on projects and events. And with that change, adopt the Hindmarsh Shire Council Advisory Committee Terms of Reference, the Hindmarsh Pride Committee Terms of Reference, and the Advisory Committee Policy Terms of Reference.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a second? Councillor Barry,
Thank you.
would you like to speak to your motion?
No, Rosie said enough.
So I would like to speak to my motion because I think that it's really important. It's meant to be about community, and I think we have lots of really amazing community groups in our towns, and I think it would be really nice to ensure that they become part of that collaboration. So I'd like to make that part of the terms of reference, that they are invited to send a delegate. That's my intention with this motion, is that they become more involved and it becomes like a link between all of our community groups into council. Again, like I imagine it was meant to be like that in the first place. So I would like to see us collaborating more with the community groups that we have.
Could I just ask maybe to Petra, while councillor Barker has an intent, do you see any issues with adding what she's added?
No, I think that the practice at the moment is that the community groups are often invited anyway, because what's on the agenda is relevant to them and benefits from collaboration. I think that trialing this, at least in the first instance, as a way to further encourage that collaboration in a more formal sense is probably going to be really effective. And we can always reevaluate in a few months' time to see if Councillor Barker's intention has been met.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else, would anyone like to speak against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. All in favour? That's motion carried. Thank you. Item 10.5, councillor gifts and hospitality policy review. This report presents the councillor gifts and hospitality policy recommended for council adoption following a periodic review. There are several changes to the policy that improve clarity and wording, as well as an additional section that provides for the management of anonymous gifts, minor administrative charges, and are also included to standardise the version control for consistency between council policy. And it is open for discussion.
I would reflect that it's good that we're reviewing the gifts and hospitality policy, that it's really clear and the process of what may happen vicariously in situations where you attend a community event and receive a bunch of flowers, for example, and it's to be really clear about the guidelines around what is appropriate. And I think that would be interested that there hasn't been any changes to that, has there?
And I think we're very well. I think our former CEO was very, very much right on top of all this, gifting stuff and all the rest of it. And I think, we're scrutinised and we're, there's audits and all the rest of it. I know, but look, there are councils out there that do dodgy stuff from time to time, and I don't think we're one of them. But it can happen, and it happens in all levels of government, of course. And I think we're scrutinised, an awful lot more than some of the other levels of government. Way over the top in comparison to if you see some of the stuff that goes on, some of the government departments in the big smoke. But anyway, there is a recommendation there.
Yes, I'd like to move that the council adopts the councillor gifting hospitality policy.
Thank you. And a seconder. Councillor Clark, like to speak to the motion? No, Councillor Clark.
Just one thing with this. Obviously, it's just been mentioned that there's been no real change, but can I just ask the CEO or Petra there? Obviously, this policy is really backs up exactly what's in the Local Government Act 2020. Is that correct? Yes.
Okay. Nothing further. I'll put the motion. All in favour? Okay, motion carried. Thank you. Item 10.6, Lou Shilling silo promotion. Is this not?
No.
Not
The
there.
report is no.
Okay, right. Construction is currently underway on the Lou Shilling silo, which will be region's newest addition to the Silo Art Trail. Once completed, the Lou Shilling silo will be like no other silo on the Silo Art Trail, as this silo will include external art, an external staircase and lift providing 2 viewing points into the silo, and internal art activation. A strong advertising campaign will enhance knowledge to the broader regions, state and across the world, bringing tourists from all over the globe to visit Rainbow. This report seeks council support to provide $6,500 in funding to Midnight Toast, an independent production company, to create a short documentary on the old man and the silo. The documentary will then be used for promotional purposes across various platforms, including social media, websites, and prior to screening at all Nil Memorials Community Centre and night activations at the Lou Shilling Silo. And I'll open it up for discussion. Councillor Clark.
Mayor, again, for, Monica or Petra, this obviously relates to a, what would you call it? Presentation made to us, about a month ago, 2 weeks ago. This relates to that, does it not?
Yep.
Yes, so council was approached by an independent filmmaker. I think I'll just digress a little bit. On Monday, our youth council visited the Wemrameli Pioneer Museum, and there was representatives from the Historical Society, from the Pioneer Museum, and the discussion was telling the story. And I think that this is a perfect example of capturing the history and the development of this silo and telling the story for future generations, so that it just builds on what we're hearing in the community on how important it is that we capture the history within our community. And having the short documentary funded partly by council will enable us to capture that history for future generations.
Thank you. And Mayor, if I may, just one more thing. I notice here that, Mayor, in your summary there, you said this Lou Shilling Silo project there at Rainbow will be like no other silo on the Silo Art Trail. Now, obviously, with most other silo arts that I've seen, I've been a bit worldly travelled with them. Most of them are externally painted. Some have lighting attached so that they light up at night, and I think there's one at Karoonda that project onto the silo, and actually also at Quorn. Is it correct this one not only has the external art, but it's also going to have an ability to have a display or a painting or sort of internal art activation inside the silo? Is that how I'm reading this and aware of it?
Yes, so the artist that has been appointed will undertake art that complements and is a tribute to Lou's garden. So there will be external artwork on the silo, but within the silo, suspended from the ceiling, will be digiglass panels that will also be a tribute to Lou's garden. There will be two ways to view. So you can enter the silo approximately 5 metres above the ground, or you can enter the silo approximately 24 metres above the ground if you're not scared of heights.
Yeah, and we're going to supply a really good ladder to get up that height, so you're right there. And I just noticed you say it complements Lou Shilling's gardens. Well, people out there, go check out Lou Shilling's gardens. I'll tell you what, give yourself a day for it because they're absolutely brilliant. Right. Not looking forward to that. Thank you very much, Mayor, for my indulgence.
$1.something million ladder, Councillor Clark.
Yes, yeah, righto. Yep, very good.
Okay, well, we have a recommendation.
I would just like also to ask a question,
Yeah,
if you don't mind. I also would like to, say this is a really great project and lucky old Rainbow. So, fantastic, going to be a fantastic landmark to our Shire. And I'm excited that we're going to be promoting this landmark. I want to just check with council with the assumption that there's going to be a contract of how we can use this video that the Midnight Toast production company is making, so that there's no concerns with copyright things down the track.
Yes, there will be a contract that will be prepared that will be signed by both parties, specify the purpose that council will use.
Thank you. Thank you.
Get the ball.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were calling for a recommendation there. Yeah, my apologies.
Well, if you'd like to move a recommendation.
Oh, thank you very much. Look, I moved the motion that council provides $6,500 excluding GST in funding to Midnight Toast, an independent production company, to create the short documentary on the old man and the silo. for promotional use on the Blue Shilling silo project.
Yes, and a seconder, councillor Lloyd. Like to speak to the motion?
Oh, yeah, just quickly, councillor Barker there. We talked about that contract, if my belief's correct, that, part of that contract will be allowing to show part or fully this, documentary on the silo once the silo's open. Is that how I'm reading? And this documentary can be used by the Shire? There's one method of using it.
Yeah.
So people will be able to see it at the silo. Right, thank you.
Councillor, you'd like to speak to the motion?
Yeah, it's a really good investment to promote not only the silos rainbow, but the region. It's a great storytelling medium, and hopefully he'll be able to enter them in the short film documentary festivals as well. So overall, yeah, it's a small amount in the scheme of things to promote the region, you know, and also, I guess in a way forever, because it's attached to the silos. So initially for promotion, but then for longevity, just the providing of information about the backstory of the silo. I think it's a great idea.
Okay. Any other comment? No one wants to speak against the motion? Put the motion, all in favour? Against, motion's carried, thank you. Item 10.7, capital works update. This report presents council with an update of the progress of 2024-2025 capital works program. This program includes projects carried forward from the 2023-2024 plant purchases, road constructions, building maintenance, and major projects. As of 28th of April 2025, over 62% of capital works have been completed. It is expected that the 85% to 90% of the capital works projects will be delivered by the end of the 2024-2025 financial year. The remaining 10% accounts for some major projects being carried forward over the multiple financial years, including the Blue Shilling Silo project and Davis Park upgrades. Thank you, and I'll open it up for discussion. Might I just maybe ask, are we going to achieve getting all these done by the end of the financial year? With 2 months to go?
About 90%, that's what I said, 85 to 90% we'll get there.
Yeah.
And those 10% account for some of the projects which run for multiple financial years due to
Just when I looked at the financial report, it looked like there was a fair bit of money still to be spent.
There's one project which is under flood recovery, which allows us to spend into the next financial year as well. So that will be carried forward. So anything that's likely to be carried forward is marked in red in the list.
Councillor Barker, you had a question?
Thank you, Mayor Esme. I note that in the past 3 months, 196 action requests via the website were completed, and those customer action requests, 196, and over 90% of those requests were related to road infrastructure. That's a lot of people letting us know about roads. I think it's a great reflection on the listening meetings that we had. And the works team is also gradually dealing with 256 work tickets related to road grading. 27 of those tickets were created from customer action requests, and the rest resulted from routine inspections. You guys are being really busy, and this is just in the last 3 months. Is that normal? That many?
So grading request depends on the
all of
schedule.
the requests.
Depends on the schedule. Well, grading request comes through always. The customer action request is probably normal or a bit more at the time because of our promotion through the listening session and the farmer consult. But the grading work tickets depends on the cycle of our inspection as well. Because some of the category 6 roads are inspected in a 2-year cycle, and this might be the cycle we were going through.
Thank you.
I think we're seeing a lot of requests as well following the bushfire in January. A lot of roads were utilised by fire trucks for fighting purposes. So there is a lot of requests coming through now.
Nice, well done.
Councillor Park.
Yeah, just, I suppose too, I'm just working with these. We talked about in the last 3 months, as councillor Barker said, 196 action requests there. I gather this is really a rolling total because if on the 26th of June, someone sends in a customer action request, that covers in this financial year, but you don't get to it till the 5th of July, and I'm picking dates out of my head here. Then obviously that will skew numbers slightly as well, will it not?
Yeah. It definitely does. So to do that, we have a look at the any of the tickets that are closed within that 3 months period, plus any of the tickets that are created within those 3 months.
Yeah. Thank you.
Councillor Shirley.
Yeah, just like to bring up about Winifred Street, just to let the public know that I popped around and had a look at the new curb and channeling that was not totally completed, but just needs some resealing done there. That after there was some concerns that there might have been some water ingress after any major rains. When was it, the 25th? So Anzac Day, we had a downpour and rainbow which overfilled the streets and gutters in the main town. I popped down and had a look at Winifred Street to see if there was any water ingress into some of the people's houses. There wasn't, so it seemed to work very well. So that's all I meant to say. Thank you.
Right, no further question, discussion, there is a recommendation. Councillor Barrett.
I'll move that the council makes the capital works update report.
Thank you. Second. Councillor Clark. Want to speak to the motion?
Yeah, well, I actually think the customer action request as well, getting around, we're pushing people to do it, so it's only got, people need to, you put it in writing online and it happens.
Yeah.
Don't bring up, write down. Yeah.
Maybe sometimes it's okay for you to contact.
It is a very long, it
Discussion.
is a very long education process, and I've been, advocating for people to do that for an awful long time, and I think there are still people out there that don't understand that, or sometimes probably don't want to understand it because they just
Like personal touch.
like it to play. Councillor Clark.
Yeah, Mayor, just a quick discussion question. Obviously, in relation to customer action requests, look, I've certainly been pushing them very, very much so. And one of the reasons I've been pushing them very much so is that relating to, and this is a question probably for Ram, if I may, relating to these customer action requests, am I correct in saying that upon them logging them, effectively, depending on what that action request is, kicks off a timeline? And that timeline, the Shire will bend over backwards to maintain, and that timeline will be contact back, action the issue, and the reply. That's all in a specified timeline once they lodge that customer action request. Is that correct?
So depending on what type of request it is, so there's one timeline in our customer charter, which is how soon we need to get back to the customer. Next one is once we do the inspection, if it meets, so our road management plan defines the intervention level to which we intervene and how soon we intervene. So depending on what intervention, what category of road it has, the time starts ticking there. And we aim to complete within that timeline. Otherwise, we are exposing ourselves to the risk of claims.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay, is there any speaker against the motion? No, I'll put the motion, all in favour? Against, the motion carried, thank you. Item 11, advisory committee. Parrot Township, Nil Township, Rainbow Town Committee, and a recommendation. Councillor Barker.
I do have a question. Thank you, Mayor Ismay. I noticed that in the Rainbow Township Advisory Committee's minutes, they have asked for an allocation of 2,800 for a welding structure. I was just wondering if we know what that is.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, my understanding is that it's a small extension to the current men's shed, which will enable them to do hot works outside rather than in the shed itself.
Okay. And that will comply with all our planning permits and infrastructure?
Yes, so I've been advised that if they haven't already, they will shortly communicate with council about whether a building permit would be required.
Thank you. And my second question, if I may, Mayor Ismay.
Do I have an office?
I did notice that that might be on the it was on the Wimmera Mallee Pioneer Museum Committee meeting minutes of 18th of March 2025. They did talk about planning ahead for requesting a budget allocation of some $37,000, $2,000 for uniforms and 20,000 for a mural and 5,000 for another. So it just so it seems like they have a plan. I was wondering what council knows in regard to the allocation of the potential budget request from the Wimmera Mallee Pioneer Museum.
Yeah, well,
That is on the next one.
I think Councillor Aiken may be able to enlighten you, maybe.
Maybe
well,
we'll wait for the next one.
we'll wait for the
I'll ask
11.2.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. I do have a recommendation, Councillor Clark.
Yes, Mayor, I'll stay in the present, thank you, over there.
Can't always be perfect.
Look, I move the motion that council notes the minute of the following advisory committee's been at Japarra Township meeting held on 10th of March, and my apologies for not attending that. Nil Township meeting held on the 11th of March 2025, and the Rainbow Township meeting held on the 17th of March 25, and that I'll move also in that motion to approve the Rainbow Town Committee's request to allocate $2,800 to the Rainbow Neighbourhood House to support the Rainbow Men's Shed in relation to that welding facility.
Yeah. Second that. Councillor Barker. I speak to the motion.
No, thank you.
Councillor Barker.
No, I would say I think it's really great to see Rainbow Town Committee being so proactive, supporting the Rainbow Men's Shed. The activities that communities put together are vital for, you know, the lifeblood of our Shire, really. So great work.
Thank you. No one wants to speak against the motion. Not, I'll put the motion, all in favour. Against, motion carried, thank you. 11.2, Community Asset Committee, Wimmera Mallee Pioneer Museum minutes and the Urunga Homestead minutes.
I will speak to that, please.
Yeah.
It's your little cot socks. Yes, thank you. Thank you. I do, you know, I do think it's great what these committees, you know, put so much time into taking care of these assets, the Wimmera Mallee Pioneer Museum and the Urunga Homestead. Fantastic job. And I see that Wimmera Mallee Pioneer Museum is thinking ahead with their budgeting for the next financial year. And so they put I couldn't quite understand from the minutes whether they were requesting or it had been approved the $37,000. So I was just wondering what we know about that.
Councillor Aiken.
No, I'll leave that one to the probably Petra.
Yes, yep. So with all council committees, when we're developing the budget, there's an opportunity to submit what items they'd like to see for the upcoming year. For the Wimmera Mallee Pioneer Museum, they put a couple of things forward last year around upskilling their volunteers and getting some curatorial support. That's sort of just coming together now, and we'll see that carried through into 25-26 because the the budget this year, as we've been discussing for several months, is really tight. At the moment, there isn't an additional allocation based on their requests, but we'll certainly continue to work with the committee. And if funding opportunities come up that enable them to deliver some of those really fabulous projects, we'll look out for those.
That's great. Thank you.
Councillor Clark.
Yeah, Mayor, I actually attended a Shire Junior Council meeting at the Pioneer Museum, and they had a guest speaker there that talked about your story. And I know that sounds a bit out there. People in public land may wonder what is on about. But it relates to, I'm also on not on, but I support the Urunga Homestead Committee. And one of the two things both these committees need is more youth, and more youth getting on board with their ideas about how these committees and what they do can go forward. So my question, I believe, Mayor, is simply, how much are we as a Shire doing trying to get our juniors or our younger public people to join or assist these committees?
I can answer that as well. So obviously we have the Youth Council, which is really fantastic. And what our equally as fantastic youth team is trying to do is to integrate Youth Council into volunteer organisations and what they're doing. There are already, I know Neil has Leos, which is a young group of people that are out and about in the community as a branch of Lions. So with the Youth Council, that's where we can start forming a connection where young people who wouldn't normally be exposed to volunteer opportunities are getting out and involved. You'll have seen them at community events serving popcorn and painting faces and doing that sort of thing. And then we really hope that they go back into schools and talk to their friends about what's happening, and that we potentially see as a result of that more young people getting involved in community organisations.
Fantastic. That's what we need to do.
Yeah.
Anything further? If not, there's a recommendation. Councillor Clark.
Thank you, Mayor. Look, I move a motion that council notes the minutes of the following community asset committees, being the Wimmera Mallee Pioneer Museum meeting held on the 18th of March 2025 and the Urunga Homestead meeting held on the 27th of March 2025.
Thank you. And a seconder. Councillor Aiken. Like to speak to the motion?
No, I think I've addressed that. Thank you, Mayor.
Aiken. No one wants to speak against the motion. If not, put the motion all in favour. Against, motion's carried. Thank you. Item 12, late reports, and we don't have any. Item 13, notice of a motion, we don't have any. Item 14, other business. Start with you, Councillor Barry, maybe?
No other business here for me, thank you.
Councillor Aiken.
Just one thing I'd like to note, thanks Chair, thanks Lyra and also the people and kids from the school at Rainbow for their effort for the morning service of their great effort of putting together all the information of the fallen soldiers in the Second World War. Thank you.
Nothing further? Councillor Barker.
Thank you, Councillor Atkin. Yes, I would also
On behalf of our other Shire committee members, that I think as a Shire and that we need to congratulate Councillor Oy and his fantastic team members on what they did to organise steampunk. I think that should be clearly acknowledged by us as the Shire.
Well done.
So,
Thank you.
congratulations.
Thank you.
yeah.
But on that note, I couldn't have done it without the volunteers, the committee, the sponsors, council support, you guys. It's basically a community effort.
Yeah.
So,
And it's noted that,
thank
yeah,
you.
very much.
But I think, I might say, I think Councillor, you took most of the stress, because I could see it I could see the stress when you were out in your car, out in the car park, months ago, stressing out about, you know, all this stuff and how many, you know, kept telling us how many days and weeks there were to go, and certainly it was a big challenge, and
It was worth it.
yeah, absolutely, and yeah,
And on the night, worrying about the bins? Were you all right? Yes, there was lots of things to worry about, wasn't there? Yeah.
Indicate I was very disappointed I was not there. Very disappointed.
yeah, great event, and I'm sure I did put in my mayoral report that it will be talked about for a long time, and I think, yeah, you've certainly put Dinbula on the map and done a great job of it, yeah, so. All right, nothing further from anywhere else. I don't think I've got anything I need to throw forward, so. Having said that, we have confidential reports on 15, and there is a recommendation. Councillor Clark.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Look, I move that the meeting be closed in accordance with section 66(2)(a) of the Local Government Act 2020 to consider reports that contain confidential information as defined by section 3 of the Local Government Act 2020 and or part 1B or 4 of the Freedom of Information Act 1982, and following consideration of items 15.1 and 15.2, close the council meeting and refer to item 15.1, the deliberative panel appointment, and 15.2, an awarding of a contract.
Thank you, and a seconder. Councillor Barry. Before I put the motion, I'd like to thank everyone out there that may be watching the council meeting today. I hope you've been well educated and informed, and enjoyed the afternoon with us. If there is such a thing as council meeting being enjoyable, but anyway, so thank you all. Sorry, all those in favour?